Hello, fellow farmers. I just decided to do a post every day this week just to get people thinking and to hear people's feedback on. So today I'm going to talk about sowing, like, seed and stuff like that. And I remember back when we first started farming at Invergordon in 1982. I don't quite remember that, but in the 80s, when we'd have 100 acres, we milked 80 cows, we had time for family, we had time to go to sports days, we had time to go on holidays, Mum judged all over the country. We had time to do all that, and we had a worker. And it was a bloody good life. And we irrigated Paspalum, which, it produced milk, and it bloody was the hardiest grass around. The root system is so solid on it that pugging, it had to be a super, super wet year for the paddocks to pug. And, to kill that stuff, you just can't kill that stuff, really. Well, I guess you just don't water it, but it's such a wonderful grass, in my opinion. And then, we would tickle the sub up every year and irrigate it. And we'd oversow that maybe every 3 years or something. And then if we did grow a bit of cereal crop, it was like 10 kilos per hectare or whatever. Just farming was so much simpler in those days. And, we didn't... So now we oversow everything, like every bit of ground, we oversow it every year, and sometimes twice a year. And we oversow with ryegrass, which is not necessarily... what's the difference between ryegrass and paspalum? When did we stop or lose? I don't know. When, it's the reps that are coming in the driveway that put fear in the farmer. Oh, you better, there's this new great ryegrass, or the Italian ryegrass, or the, whatever ryegrass. Next will be the Spanish ryegrass, whatever. And, it's perennial, or it's annual, it's blah, blah, blah. When did we stop using our own initiative and our own intuition and allow the reps that drive in the driveway to create fear in us as farmers that if we didn't do what they said, we wouldn't have grass, for our animals? So we've gone from what I just said in the 80s, so 10 kilos a hectare, tickling up the sub every 3 years, not even oversowing pasture because the paspalum didn't need it, to oversowing everything every year. Some paddocks get oversown twice, double cropped. Burning diesel. Yep, diesel's a huge expense at the moment and has always been in farming. But we're burning diesel, compacting the paddocks more from driving on it, driving up and down, up and down. If you're one of the farmers that works your paddocks up each time you oversow, you're wrecking the soil biology. So then you need more friggin' fertilizers, and then you need more water to get any growth out of your paddocks. And it's just this perpetual cycle now that they've got farmers in that has been created out of fear, and it's bullshit. And even if you're going to grow ryegrass, there's a bloody huge seed bank in your paddocks of ryegrass seed. If you just allow some paddocks to go to head, just play around with it. Let some paddocks go to head, and then you don't have to oversow that paddock next year. Yes, it's going to be a tiny bit slower kicking off than the stuff that you oversow, but not much. By the end of the season, it's exactly the same as the rest of the paddocks. And it costs you nothing, costs you just the water to chuck on. But, I'm just curious about, has anyone here thought about going back to putting Pazzy in? Because, my ex-father-in-law, he had Pazzy, And his bloody cows, they milked. They milked on it. They do. And the paddocks, like I said, the paddocks just are more hardy with Pazzy in it because of the root system of the Paspalum is so solid. And it goes to head just like any other grass, but it actually still produces more if you just keep topping it. It's I'm just curious as to what people think, and just to think about, where did you stop thinking for yourselves? I know you think for yourself, but where did you stop thinking for yourself and taking everything that the bloody seed company rep, or who, the agronomist or whatever, where'd you start taking his or her word as gospel over what you know to be true? Keeping in mind that their job is to perpetuate you spending money to keep them in a business. Like if we all did, like it happened in the early 90s, we all went away from the easy, simple farming, and now we're stuck in a cycle of running our asses off and sitting in the tractor all day and all night and splashing water all over the place because our soils are no good anymore, or not no good, but the soil takes more water because we've worked them up and we've killed the biology, and just like the constant trying to improve, when actually what we used to do in the 90s, 80s and early 90s was really freaking good. And it was good for the soul, and it was good for family time. Like, isn't that the most important thing, rather than more liters in the vat? We've gone from family time and enjoying farming to killing ourselves and not enjoying the things that actually matter in life. Like, who gives a shit? When you go to the grave, no one's going to be saying, or when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be laying there saying, "Oh, I had the highest producing herd in Australia," or I made 10 million litres this 1 year, or whatever. You're not going to be thinking about that. You'll be thinking about whether you missed your kids' sports day, or you missed your kids' concert, or whatever. Like, they're the important things. Or missed hanging out with your mum or your dad or your brothers or whatever. So yeah, I would love to hear comments down below on what your thoughts are. And that's dairy farming in Australia, by the way. So for you other dairy farmers around the world that are going to watch this, I'm curious as to how you've noticed, like, that kind of thing happening on the seed side of things. So yeah, comment below.